I guess I don't need these in my ears if it's not going to actually put the sound through. So, man, you've had Logos now for what, like 3 months?
Yeah, probably right about 3 months.
Yeah. How are you liking it?
I like it a lot. I've not done a whole lot with it other than like the stuff you showed me last time. The sermon builder, and I've done a little bit with sermon manager,
Okay.
and then getting different tools up there as far as commentaries and that sort of thing. But that's about it.
What's your favorite commentary so far?
I'm really liking this Reformation commentary. Let me see what it exactly is called here. It is the one that's edited by Timothy George, and it's just called like the Reformation Bible commentary, and it's really good. I like that one a lot.
Cool.
Just helpful. So that one's been my favorite so far. Now I gotta find it again. Something happened. There we go.
What do you?
It's because it what it does is it gives you on a certain text. It gives you probably 4 or 5 different guys from the Reformation period.
Okay, cool.
And it could be. They've even had Catholic ones in there, but they've had like Protestants, Lutherans, Calvinists, and then it's got a bunch of different ones. But it's fun to read through and see all of that.
Awesome. What are you preaching through right now?
John.
Nice.
Right now on Sunday mornings, I'm in John 5. Finished verse 24 on Sunday, and then on Wednesday nights we're working through 1 Samuel.
Okay. How are you breaking up 1 Samuel?
Kind of in paragraph form, just where like the ESV splits it in the paragraphs. That's where I break it up. But like this last week, we just really focused on 2:22 about Eli's sons, and we just went with that and had a lot of discussion time there.
Do you tend to try and break up narratives into smaller chunks, or you try and keep them all together?
I try to keep the narrative portion together, but I have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
I try to take big chunks of it, but hardly ever can do it.
Yeah. So you just went through John chapter 4.
Yeah.
Did you treat the woman at the well as one unit, or did you break it up into multiple sermons?
Oh yeah, that was broken up into multiple sermons. Yeah, multiple sermons.
I have this internal struggle of I want to keep it as a single unit because it's a single unit and it takes all of 10 minutes to read it. But then it almost, it's like you're flying over everything.
Yes. That was the big thing with it. We broke it up, and I do so my introductions to my sermons are probably longer than most people's. And when I get into sections like that, I do recapping of the week before. Yeah. So that way it brings everybody back up to speed where we are and all that. And then we get into the text.
Nice. Yeah. I had a buddy have me guest preach 2 Samuel with David and Absalom. Absalom's rebellion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had me preach like the whole thing. And it's like, I think like 4 chapters.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. I don't even know how you would do that. No, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff.
I could send you a link and show you how I did it. I think I handled it fairly well, but you just don't end up reading all of it in the sermon.
Yeah.
You like read the highlight. You give a review of the story. Yeah. And then you give the highlights of the actual text. So
yeah, but that'd be how you have to do it. I would assume.
Yeah, we're doing Daniel starting in September, and I think I have part of chapter 10, 11, and 12 all like mashed together in one sermon at the end.
Oh wow!
Because just like, do we like deep dive into these apocalyptic literature prophecies, or do we like give like an overarching perspective? Because you could go take forever to go through some stuff, like what did Martin Lloyd-Jones do? He did like 7 years in Romans, and Piper did 7 years in Romans.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that feels too long.
Yeah.
Lloyd-Jones might have done like 14 years or something.
Yeah, he was in there a long time. I don't know for sure, but I know we're approaching a year and a half in John, and we're in chapter 5.
You're going to be in there a while.
Yeah, we're going to be there for a while.
We did it 3 years ago, I think, and we started it right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And did we? I don't know. We did like 72 sermons, so that felt like a good length for our people. And we have like natural breaks that we take throughout. Like we take summer off from the book study we're doing, and we might go into a different book, but we try to break it up just because I don't know if it's this way where you guys are at, but here in the Pacific Northwest, like once the weather gets good, people like are on vacation. They're in camping mode all the time.
Yeah.
And so kind of once school's out through like Labor Day, it's like half the people are gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's that way here too. The summers are short in Maine, and so they make the most of them.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they can, man, they're gone, and camping and on their boats and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's tough. Summers are tough.
Yeah. Well, man, was there anything you wanted me like? I didn't even think to ask you like what do you want to talk about? I was like, hey, we should do it. We should do something where we talk about Logos, but I didn't even think to say, hey, what could I show you? What are you struggling through? What are you wanting to learn?
What I would like to do more of is I'd like to, and I don't know if there's a way to do this, but I've seen these things on certain commentaries. I couldn't tell you which ones right off the top of my head, but like I pull them up, and actually the Pool of Bethesda was one of them. It had these graphics on the side in one of the commentaries, pictures from the actual pool.
Okay.
And I was like, man, that would be so cool to get that into people's hands. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know if you can do it. I don't know if it's possible.
So like you were in like a like what commentary were you? So Pool of Bethesda, that's John.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the one that it was in. There was I might not be able to pull this up. It was something like not it's not like Calvin's commentary or one of those. It's right. like something that does like maybe the Bible knowledge commentary. No, I don't think it was that one.
So like let's here. So let me throw up my Logos screen.
So for example, here's one that you can see. It's not that one, but it's the new Nelson's New Illustrated Bible Commentary. Do you have that one?
Nelson's
New Illustrated Bible Commentary.
Come on. There we go.
So if you go to chapter, let's see.
You can see mine, right?
Hang on. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I was looking at my screen. If you go to chapter 4 and verse 20, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a picture there, not necessarily this picture, but this is what, like that.
Yeah. Okay. So you should be able to, what you would do, you would want to go and there should be a image, and then we could actually like, this is going to make it so it pops off the screen. Okay. Oh, actually, let me make a new sermon. So we'll just make a brand test sermon. So that way we should be able to send items to it. So we click on the image, right?
Okay.
And then you go, instead of reference, you click image, because reference is going to do anything that's related to You see where it says John 4:21-23, because that's the reference that
Yes.
is connected to.
Uh-huh.
But if we click the image, then it takes us off of the reference, and we can click send to untitled sermon because it hadn't updated yet. And it should, it's thinking, put it right in there. And so then if we click on slides, it'll have that in the slides.
Okay. And
then you could export it to PowerPoint or print it, and then you would be able to hand it out to people.
Okay, so like if I'm working through a handout here, can I put it just straight on the handout? Is it already on there?
It doesn't look like it wants to put it onto the handout.
Okay.
Let's see if we were to.
Let me see here.
So let's actually. I'm gonna try copying it. I've never actually done it before. So yeah, that wants to make it as a new image, which doesn't want to put the image. Let's see what.
So how did you send to? Was that?
Okay, so you
let me get a.
So let's go back to. So I'm in Nelson's Illustrated Bible, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna right click on it.
Okay.
And it's gonna naturally it's gonna start out as reference.
Okay.
I'm gonna click the thing right below it. Do you see where it says image? Where my mouse is?
I can't see the image part. No.
Where does is it not? Oh, you know what? Okay, so here's the issues because I'm telling it to show. Let's. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Share screen. Because it's doing that thing where. Do you remember last time when I was showing you it would like pop out a new window?
Yeah.
So you're sharing the window and not the screen.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to close down.
So, and something else too. All I have is like the pad on the laptop. I don't have a mouse. I don't know if that makes a difference.
It shouldn't. So you would want to, you'll just do, you would do like right click on it, whatever your, when you're, how do you right click with your trackpad?
I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know.
You have
it's a MacBook Pro. Yeah. So,
okay. So you're going to right click. If you have it set up, you're going to use 2 fingers.
Okay.
On your trackpad.
Okay.
That,
oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So that, okay. So if you take the image, are you looking at the image?
Yeah.
So with your, let's do this.
I saw where it said I could send it now.
Okay. So this now people should be able to see. Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. So like we'll right click and it starts on reference and it gives you pulling from the reference there where that is attached to all the Bible text. So if we were to make a note on this, say we wanted to make a note on John 4:21, if we created a note, anytime we see a tagged reference to John 4:21, it'll end up actually putting a little note marker right there that tells you, hey, you have a note attached to this Bible verse. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Let's see if so see like this. This is I wrote a journal based on John 4:36 and I tagged it to it so I can click on it. And then it has, look, I anchored it's now connected to that.
Yeah.
And then I wrote these things about it. And so anytime I go to John 4:36, it's going to put this, it should, put this little thing here. So I know I have a note on John 4:36 and it'll persist across different Bible translations. So if we go like the LSB, which are you familiar with the Legacy Standard Bible?
I know about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So there's like a revision to the 95 NASB put out by the translation committee, a lot of them actually work at Master's Seminary and Master's University. And so you can see this is persisting. This note is persisting across all those, all the Bible translations, and then all my commentaries too.
Yeah.
Which is super helpful when you're taking notes on stuff and you want to you want to have stuff connected. But then you can also, if you didn't want it to be connected specifically to and show up in all the versions, but it was connected to a specific version, you could like highlight it and it would, we could create a note. And why did it not do that? Why add note? So then you can see this is saying John 4:33 because I was on the whole text. But if I just selected some of it, I could, by clicking that, I could click selection. And then if I do add note, then it tags it specifically to that Bible translation and just the stuff that I had selected.
Okay.
So you can kind of balance how you're going to use what type of note you're going to create and whatnot. And notes are, there's one deficiency in notes. I don't think it has enough like layers. I wish it had additional layers of organizational layers, so you could like make multiple notebooks. But but it's super powerful to be able to take all your notes. I throw like if I find something on a blog article that I'm like, oh, this is really helpful for this topic, I'll then create a note and put it in there and save it, and then you can put tags in them. And like, see here, I can add a tag, so I could say evangelism, and then if I search my tags, I could, anytime I search my notes for tags, it would then populate with that. And so I essentially don't use like anything like Notability, or not Notability, like Evernote or any of those anymore. I just use almost entirely Logos for all my notes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if we went to this, so going back, I clicked on this, I right-clicked, and instead of keeping on reference, I clicked image, and then I did send to test sermon. Now you can send it directly to PowerPoint. Okay. Or you could print it, and that would just print it directly. Now you can see it's a little small. You would need to mess with sizing and whatnot. But if you sent it to, we did send it to the test sermon. So then it's in there and it's in the slides. And if you were to export the slides to PowerPoint, it will then, where is it going to go? Desktop. It's probably going to go on my other desktop. Yeah. Okay. So then I'm going to open it, and it's thinking. So then it's now, you could write whatever you want. And obviously it's a little wonky formatting wise, because it's exporting it for a 16:9, but it's not reshaping it. We might be able to, oh no, it's making it as a solid background image. So you can't edit it directly. Yeah.
You can export it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know, because there were certain things that I was like, man, this would be awesome to be able to hand this over to people who want to see this kind of stuff, because some of them don't care and some of them really do, and they'd like to see that kind of thing, and I didn't know how to do it. So that's good to know.
Yeah, and we could edit this, and that popped it over there, so you weren't going to see it. Aspect ratio, 16 by 9. So then you can mess with it a little bit and put it, at least you could show it to them. You know, you could put it on your projector or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they could see it. I find that helpful for maps because you can throw maps into the presentation. And then, particularly sermons where or passages where the author's talking a lot about like geographical things without them speaking to specific geographical things.
Yeah.
Like I preached a sermon on Psalm, I don't remember what Psalm, but David is picturing the natural weather pattern flow that occurs in Israel from like the rains coming from the north to the south.
Yes.
And arriving at Jerusalem. And he's like picturing it as it comes along in his Psalm. And if you don't know Israel's geography and how the weather patterns flow, you're like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So having those background information is helpful. Have you played around with the FactBook yet?
I've done a little bit there. Not a ton, but yeah, I've done some.
So this is what, like, the FactBook is really helpful in, like, so I pulled up Bethsaida, but you have, like, it gives you all these media things, and you can,
yeah. So those pictures, could I get those on that, doing the same way too, or with those?
Yeah, I don't think this one's the like interactive atlas. I don't know if there's a way to do the interactive atlas.
I have not seen the interactive atlas. That's pretty cool.
So you can we can zoom into Bethlehem. And then the FactBook is going to pull up the information about Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And cool. Let's see what happens here if we do this. I've actually never done this before. So he's thinking. There we go. So slides.
Wow.
And then so we've got that. It's right there. So if you wanted to show the geography of Jerusalem from like, here's how close these things are all together.
Yeah.
And then you can go different things. You can kind of dive down into it, and they'll pull up. The wise men come from the east. You can show people how far they actually traveled.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
You're like, oh, it wasn't a short trip.
Yeah. That's really cool. I had no idea about that.
Although I don't know why is that not going away? There we go. So, I mean, that puts it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're either coming from here or they're coming from here. And this is just how long of a trip that these men came to worship Jesus.
Wow. Yeah.
And you can, the mission of the 72, and you can show people the various things. Jesus leaves Jerusalem and goes beyond the Jordan. Just shows you how even close Jerusalem is to that Bethany, and then how close Jerusalem is to that Bethany. And you can click all these different things that show you the different, what they mean and whatnot.
That's really
neat. If we were to look at the FactBook of Bethlehem, it'll pull up all this stuff. Here's a really helpful little thing is you can actually play it, and it'll tell you how to say it. Because sometimes there's those words that we have no clue how to say, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I have to listen to this about 5 times before I'm confident enough to say it.
I did do that a couple times. I listened to some words because I was like, what the heck is this word?
Yeah. But then you can, so like, let's say we want to send this guy to the sermon, and it'll, oh, why didn't it do it? Of course it's not going to. There we go. I guess it's because I was on the wrong page. So then you've got that, and it's a fun little thing you can add. One thing that this is just popping up here. So I'll point it out, is you can create templates on in Sermon Builder. So that way, I don't know about you, but I kind of have a typical sermon structure.
Yeah.
And so I've got like 3-point sermons and 4-point sermons. And so I'll just click this, add the template, and then it puts in like my intro. I like to give a big idea. So Jerusalem is, if I spell it correctly, awesome. Point 1, David was there. 2, God picked it. And so then I'm not having to like each time type in the structure. And so
yeah,
I did like the exegesis. What's his name? I was going to say Brian Chappell, but it wasn't Brian Chappell. Haddon Robinson's, like his exegesis illustration application.
Yeah.
Kind of what I tend to do. And then sometimes I'll do a recap and sometimes I won't. So then it has the slides and it reminds me to do it. And then the text just reminds me to put in the text.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I do like that a lot. Yeah.
And you can do different ones for different templates. So you would just go in and make your template, and then you're going to click this little button, and then it'll end up saving it. And then like say you're doing a sermon series and it's or like Wednesday nights, you're doing a series through 1 Samuel and you're going to make it a template, but then you can also fill in this information. And so you could put the venue where you're teaching it.
Yeah.
You could put Wednesday night, and then you'll put the date. And then that information will also populate in when you click the template. And so you're not having to fill all that in each time. Or if you were doing like a series on how to read the Bible and you were doing an overview of each book of the Bible and you were kind of giving the same type of information each week, you could make a template just for that. And it would apply to it every time when you create it. And you would just go in. So like I have sermon stuff here, Sermon Manager, which again popped on the next screen over. Those will all be in there in here, and you can like look through the various types of things. So, so like this was a message I did for the men's breakfast we have, and so I put that in there. Any like sermons on or like funerals, if we're having a church-wide meeting and I'm doing some type of teaching on it, I'll put that in there.
Yeah.
And so last year we did a series on like a doctrine series over summer, and we called it Truths for Life, and kind of took Paul David Tripp's theology book that he came out with. It might have been 2 years ago now, and said, okay, if we're going to take doctrines that the Bible teaches, how do we apply these to our life? And so I ended up creating a specific standalone structure for that, because I always I was having certain stuff that was popping up each week as I created it. And so I kept the structure kind of the same. And so I made a template for it.
Yeah, that's nice.
So how many points do you do in your sermon? I think I had 8 points in that one.
I typically have 2 or 3. So sometimes, man, I'm like at 0.1 and I'm like near the end of your
allotted time.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, I got to squeeze in another point here.
Now I know why you've been in John for 1.5 years.
That's what really, man. I'm like writing, and as I'm writing, I've done studying, I've done all this other stuff, but as I'm writing, more things are popping up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this. We can't leave that out, and just keep going. So,
well, that's where like notes would probably be really helpful you create notes for like along the way. You could make a notebook on the Gospel of John sermon series, and then you could create individual notes for even individual sermons. Like this one, we could create, so we have a sermon notebook, and we can make a new note. And a sermon notebook is a regular notebook, but linked to a particular sermon. So you could create a sermon notebook for, say, what are you teaching on this Sunday?
We'll be going through, let me pull it up here real quick so I get you the right one. We're going to be going through 25 through 29 of John chapter 5.
25 to 29.
Yeah.
So we could create a placeholder sermon title for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could create a new note, and then it's notebook John 5, 25 to 29. And then as you're doing your study, you could, I need to make sure that I'm just going to, I want to make sure that I address, Jesus says, truly, truly, I say to you, I'm going to copy that. Where did there we go. Jesus says, truly, truly, I say to you. So I copied that from the ESV and it automatically tags it. I want to make sure truly, truly, or amen, amen. Jesus wants us to pay attention. And you could build a notebook or like a note on all the things as you're studying it. So then when you go to write your sermon, you can kind of look through all your notes and say, oh, I wanted to make sure I hit that. Or however you might use note taking, or maybe you come across an example of the son can do nothing on his own accord. Maybe you find a really great sermon illustration from like on the internet. You're like, oh, I want to include this illustration in my sermon. You could then cut and paste the hyperlink in here, and you would have it in your sermon notes to be able to link to it. You're like, oh, there's this news article that really fit well with this topic. And so you could just put it in there, and then you could go click on it when you're going to go preach it. And maybe as you're putzing around the internet, or you read the news, or you hear a story, you're like, oh, that would be really good for this other text. Like maybe it's you find some magazine article about vine dressers, and you're like, oh, this connects well with John chapter 15. And you go and you make a note on vine dressers, and you attach it to John 15. And then when because you're going to be, Cody, if you keep going at the pace you're going, it's going to be like 4 years before you get to John 15. Yes. And you're going to have forgotten about that article you read by the time you get there.
Yes.
But if you had the note attached to it, when you get there, you're going to be like, well, what's this little note here for me? And you think, oh, that's interesting. I have a note. And you think, and so you click on it and you say, oh, I totally forgot about this.
That's nice.
So, and if you notice, like my tech, like this is if you notice, this is blocked. That's because it's actually it's trying to show me, I have a visual filter on, which you'll have to search for it because I don't know it exactly off the top of my head, but the single square is singular use, and double squares are double block is plural use, just to help us kind of pay attention to those things that if you're reading in Greek, you're going to notice that. But if you're reading in English, you're not going to notice that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do most of your study in the Greek or in the English.
English, yeah.
Yeah, I'm same way. And so it's just a little visual thing to help you notice the difference. And you also notice, is it showing for you that it's highlighting all the U's?
Yes.
That's a thing you can turn on if you were to go to this little cannonball logo. So visual filters, and you click corresponding words, and you click same lemma. that's going to show you all the words that are the same underlying Greek word. So if I put my cursor over,
so mine says like you say emphasize active lemmas.
So visual filters.
Yep.
And then under resource, do you see resource? Should be the top one. So like
yes.
top
Okay.
drop down.
Yep.
And then like 5 down, it says corresponding words.
Yes.
And then click the little arrow to uncollapse it. And then click lemma, same lemma.
Okay.
And so once that's selected, if do you have the resource box checked like mine is?
Let me see yours. Hang on a second. I got to pull you back up. Which one is the resource box?
So you click, so that's checked.
Let me make sure. Yes.
Okay. So go out of the box, and now maybe you put your highlighter over, or put your mouse over woman like mine is. Okay. And it will then highlight anytime on the screen that the same underlying Greek word is used.
Wow.
It's going to highlight it. So it just helps you, as you're going through the text, notice the things that, I mean, woman, obviously they're going to translate woman off it's all going to be translated the same, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember you've probably heard sermons on it, and in John 21, when Jesus is restoring Peter, right? Have you heard like the talks of, okay, well, Jesus uses one word for love and Peter uses another word for love.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're both translated as love, and there's no way for you to know that as you're looking at it, just as an English reader. So if you have that turned on, when you put your mouse over love, you're going to notice that Jesus uses love, but it doesn't highlight Peter's word of love.
Oh, wow.
Well, what's going on here? And then it highlights, if you go to Peter's, it shows you, well, Jesus's love isn't highlighted here. So it helps you to get the clue of, hey, look, this is not, they're not using the same word for love here. Well, depending on who you read, that will be either considered exegetically significant or exegetically insignificant. Like some commentators think that John is just playing up, just being funny and just using different words to create contrast. And other people think, no, John is actually making a point of Jesus's love for Peter is unconditional, and Peter's love for Jesus is not. He doesn't express it the same way, right?
Yeah.
And so it helps you notice those things. And then if you notice, my text is like lots of different colors. These are different. I have different filters on to show me different Greek verbs. So this is so like anything blue is participle.
Yeah.
Anything green is a indicative. And then anything red is an imperative.
Yeah, that's super helpful. How did you get that?
So I ended up creating a Greek visual morph filter. I'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
An explanation of how to do it, because frankly, I watched a video on how to do it, and I just did it when I watched the video, and I've totally forgotten how to do it.
Okay.
But you can actually, if you go to documents, this is one of the great things. You can go into public documents, and you can search for Greek visual filters, and it should. So so probably Bill Abel created the Greek visual filter verbs. And if we were to click on it, then we could do add to your docs. And if we added it, it would, we would then be able to use it in our logos. So people go through and make these various tags or make these various notes, and you can add them to yours, and then it persists with you. Like I have one
Oh, wow. Yeah.
that shows, so like this is actually one that shows all the text changes that occurred in the ESV.
Wow.
So it shows just like the little things that changed in the ESV over time. So in 2001, it said, to them, he presented himself alive after his suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2007, they changed it to he presented himself alive to them after his suffering. So just shows you like if you're depending on which, if you use the ESV, depending on which text you're looking at, there might be a slight difference. Yeah. And then it'll also show you the Gideons have their own, they have a ESV, and theirs still has verses that are from the majority text.
So I did that Greek visual thing, that BA or whatever. Yeah. I clicked it, and it gave me red, green, blue. It gave me like gigantic red with yellow outlines, like, yeah. And so I don't know which is which. So how do I figure that out? Like,
so I think you would have to go into documents.
Okay.
And then where you click the type. Okay, so did you go into documents?
Okay, I am in yes.
Okay, and then click yours. Since you added it, it should be in there.
Okay, yep, there it is.
And then click type, organize it by type. Well, you might not have a lot, so yours might be.
That's the only one I've got.
Okay, so just click on the one you have.
Okay.
And then it should pull up this kind of picture.
Let me see.
Or this screen that is like mine.
Okay, let me see. It didn't do that yet. Hold up. I must have done something different. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
And then it should give you the corresponding, like what are the things that what he created. So like if you're looking at mine right now, I've pulled up the you versus you all.
Yeah.
And so this morph is just this is I can't remember what each of the ones stands for, but it's Greek, and then second oh good grief, I don't remember exactly what but this is the singular one and this is the plural one, and so that's how you know what it's supposed to correspond to.
Okay.
So you would just have to figure out what his different morphs are.
Yeah.
And so
that's
like what each abbreviation means something. And so when you hover over a word, does it put a little down at the bottom of the screen? Does it give you a parsing of the word?
Yeah. So it says verb, aorist, active, indicative, third person when I went to cast right there.
Yeah. So what you would want to do is just you could highlight over the different ones that he's created. Yeah. And that should give you a clue of what he's done. If you can't remember how to read the what the different morphs abbreviations are for.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So this is all right. Okay. So, yeah.
Can you look at mine?
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Yep.
Okay, so this last one, where it's the green foreground, it's a Greek verb, and I don't care about whether it's what. Oh, hey, look, it pulls it right up there for us. If you click onto it, it'll show you, and you can kind of drop down menu select it. So I didn't care about if it was first, second, or third person. Didn't matter to me. I didn't care if it was dual, plural, or singular, and I didn't care about any of that. The only thing I really cared about was that it was a verb and it was indicative. And I didn't select aorist, present, perfect. That didn't really matter to me. I just wanted to know if it was.
So how did you get that to come down there again and show you all that stuff?
Well, where did it go? I have no clue how I got that to show up. Okay. I was clicking through it and Oh, by typing in it. So part of speech, it's a verb. I wanted a present tense. Or actually, I didn't do tense. I just did verb and mood because I wanted to know that it was an indicative. Versus up here, this is a I wanted an imperative.
Yeah.
I wanted to notice the difference between a command and just like a statement of fact.
Yeah. Okay.
And these ones are the same as those like second person singular, second person plural. And then blue is a participle.
Okay. Well, okay. That makes sense. All right. Yeah, that's helpful. Super helpful.
Art, does it feel like a fire hose?
Yeah, but it's good stuff, man, because this will be so much easier,
Yeah. Well, when I figured out that you could do the thing where you have it shows you all the same words.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this just makes it so you can read. You're going to be able to notice the things that a native Greek speaker, Greek reader would notice that we kind of lose when we're not reading in that language, since we don't have the same types. We don't have plural, second person plural, and second person singular in modern English, other than you and y'all. But even in some contexts, y'all can mean one person. So then it's all y'all, and so it's just helpful to have these things that pop up when you're going through it.
Yeah, no, that's really, really helpful. Actually, it's is there a way to take? Well, maybe not. I'll just leave it, I guess. I was going to say the red lettering of Jesus words out.
Oh yeah, totally. So what you can do is you would click visual filters, and then there is a specific way to do it. So when you go to visual filters, there's this one where it says Bible text only. So you'll click this.
Let's see.
Oh, it's not that one. Where is it? There is a way to do it. Okay, so you're going to click Bible text formatting.
Bible text formatting. Let me see here. Bible text formatting.
So under Bible text only, click Bible text formatting, and that will turn it.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
And if you like verse by verse view, you can click one verse per line, and it'll put it in verse by verse. You can turn off non-Bible text, so you can literally get rid of all the like section headings. You can turn off chapter and verse. You can make it so it's literally just Bible.
Yeah.
And then you're not. If you want like a clean text. Another one that's really cool is if you scroll down. You can click prepositional outlines.
Prepositional outlines. Yes. Okay.
So if you click that, then it'll give you an outline of the text and put it in preposition form just to help you break down and study the text better.
Yeah.
And say like, oh, this is Jesus is making an exclamation, or this is being made an exclamation here.
Yeah.
And it helps you then just diagram the text.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Logos is one of those things that it is so powerful when you understand how to use all the features. Like you can do popular highlights, and you'll see what other people have highlighted.
Yeah, that's helpful too.
You can put speaker labels, which tells you, hey, who's saying this, so you don't have to like go back and think about, oh, who's the person that said that.
Yeah.
You can just hover over it, and you get the different things. So you can click on it, and oh, I clicked Pontius Pilate, and now I've got this whole resource on who's Pontius Pilate, inscriptions about him, how he fits into the overall thing, other passages about him.
Yeah.
Now all these things are going to be dependent on the resources you have. Like you might not have Anchor Yale Bible Dictionary, so right. That's not going to show up for you. But you should have the Lexham Bible Dictionary, or you might have the Baker Encyclopedia of the Bible.
I have Lexham. I know that.
Yeah. So then it's going to show you the resources that you have that connect to this thing, to this Facebook, not Facebook, FactBook note. And then like you can see sermons, whether you've done sermons about it or if someone else has, and they've tagged it to Pilate. You want to learn about Pilate's wife, you can click on that and you'll see these things. And then you could click, hey, I want to do a biblical study on the person of Pontius Pilate. And you click on that, and then it creates a whole thing you want to go through for research. And what role did this person play in biblical events? And then you, yeah. So
how did you say that we get rid of the read out of Jesus's words? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. So you go into the 3 cannonballs.
Yep.
And then you click the drop down for Bible text only.
Okay, Bible text only. How did I miss that? Okay, there we go. Yep.
And then click Bible text formatting, and that should take the red letters away.
Okay, yes, there we go. That'll make it easier, especially when I have got all these other colors here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was one of those things where I was like, what in the world? It looks the same here. So
yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, and what you can also do is you can do so this is going to apply to just this resource, right? And so you can have some of them apply across translations, and then you can have it so it doesn't apply to all of them. So you select just the resource, and then it'll be, it's like, we're going to turn it off on this resource, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the visual filter off on this resource. But then if I go into the ESV, it's still there.
Okay.
Which is helpful if you want to be slightly different.
Yeah.
Depending on the context.
Yeah, this is nice, man. This is really helpful stuff.
Cool.
And yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's great. I'm looking over it and I'm thinking, man, this is just adding so much more now, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to do all this, but it'll be good.
Yeah. You slowly build over time and learn about it and work to figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, you got any other immediate questions?
Nothing right now. No.
Cool. Next time we chat, I'll have to show you. There's this thing called workflows. It's I really love it as a feature. I don't use it as often as I like to, but it's a fantastic feature of, it's kind of like, have you seen those ads for those like meals that they send you all the ingredients and they tell you how to do everything, and you just have to do the cooking.
Yes.
It's like that. You open the workflow and you type in, if you're going to work on a sermon on a particular passage, you type in the passage, and then it gives you like, here's what the order of the things you should do. But then it also gives you all the like resources. You just like click it. And so you don't have to like remember to go to a specific resource. And so it kind of just puts it all there right in front of you and helps you walk through it.
Yeah.
Not that you don't know how to do it all already. It's just, it's kind of like, oh, I'm just clicking instead of having to go search through, you know?
Yeah.
And that's one of the awesome things about Logos is it saves you the time of like, I mean, okay, seminary where you're doing word studies and you're like, okay, I need to go find the BDAG, or I need to find Kittle's book and figure out where Pilate is in Greek and do that word. It's just like, oh, I just click Bible word study and here's Pilate and this is his Greek name. This is how his name's said in Greek. And and then I have all these different things of, hey, look, these different encyclopedias. It just, oh, look, boom. It happened right away. And so something that would take 15 minutes before is 30 seconds. And so it reduces the time that you would spend on those unnecessary portions of sermon prep. Like who needs to spend 15 minutes thumbing through the dictionary trying to find Pilate and go finding the right dictionary? You just click it and then it's there. And so it removes the unnecessary time elements of sermon prep.
Man, that's great. This is just it's really neat. Like, so well, one thing, okay. So I just went to went to a different section. I went to 1 Samuel from John.
Yeah.
And it took all the visual things away now.
Right, because so 1 Samuel is in Hebrew, and
so that's what it would be, how it'd be doing.
Yeah, so you would need to create new visual filters for the Hebrew text.
Okay, so let's see.
And my brain does not comprehend Hebrew the way it comprehends Greek. So how Hebrew verbs work and all that stuff. I don't really grasp. So and like was and all that. So you could search if you're familiar with it and you understand it. You could search for go into documents and you could probably Hebrew visual. Yeah, so like you could do a Hebrew visual filter. Oh, looks like that guy Bill Abel created a Hebrew visual filter for pronouns and Hebrew visual filter for verbs. And you could take his and see if it helps you understand it. So, and those visual filters are only going to apply to biblical texts. They're not going to apply to, like, if I have all those visual filters on, like if I'm going into here, it's not applying to this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's going to help. I just did the verb one on there and it's really, that helps. Cool. So, man, that's great.
Awesome, man.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Sure thing. We'll have to make it not so long for the next one.
Yeah. And we'll try to get some more questions ready for you.
Yeah, cool. All right, man.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.